Tara. This is my mom, Jill. We are the authors of the Dining on a Dime cookbook, where you can eat better, spend less on your first trip to the grocery store. We are talking today about moving. This is one of our big pet peeves. I'll tell you right now, as if you guys don't know already. But here's the thing. If you're in an area and you cannot afford to live there, move.
Yeah.
This is not rocket science, okay? Now, Sherry says, when you move to a new state to save money, isn't it scary to move somewhere without friends or relatives nearby? Do you find work before or after you move to the new state?
It is scary. Now, even though we say move, it is scary, you know.
Got to do it afraid.
But you've got to do it. There's been a lot of things I've had to do in my life being afraid, and you just have to do it anyway. You can't let fear stop you from living. You know, people are letting fear stop them from living, of all types of things. So what you do is you do a lot of research on where you want to move, make sure. And another thing, it's not like you have, when we say move, we don't mean you have to move from New York all the way to California type thing. If a lot of times people are living like in New York City, say, and they say, it's so expensive here, it's so expensive here. And we say, well, then you may have to move. I can't afford to live in New York City.
Move to upstate New York.
So just move
somewhere else.
Yeah, move a couple of hours away from your family. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. We always think of things in extremes. So you can just move a couple of hours away. That way you can come visit on the weekend. If they need to help you with something or you with them, you can travel back and forth easily, you know, a couple of hours away. And when I say do the research, check out, make sure where you're moving is going to be reasonably priced, what you're looking for.
Has the kind of jobs you need.
Check out the types of apartments. You can do all this online now. Check out just what kind of stores. Check out what areas. You can even get a criminal sheet, or what is it called? You know, criminal thing. Look that up online to see what areas have more crime. If you're a single gal and you want to live in a little safer area or something like that. That type of thing. And so you just have to do
it. Now here's the thing. Mike and I have moved every single time we've moved. We have not had a job, and we have moved to we've moved 4 times to a different area or different part of the state in Kansas that was several hours away, where we didn't have a job. But, you know, we just went, and he got what he could when we got there, and then he kept looking for something better. So you may have to get a temporary job. You may have to do that. Mom may have to stay home with the kids and let dad work. Now, here's the thing. There are people that are like, well, I won't have my support system. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I get that you appreciate having grandma and grandpa babysit the kids all the time. But I will tell you that a lot of couples with kids depend on the grandparents way too much. I'm trying to be nice here, but unless there is just an extenuating illness type circumstance or something, I think it's flat out wrong for the grandparents to be raising your kids. They had their kids and they raised them because you choose to have this lifestyle with a house you can't afford, with car payments you can't afford, school loans you can't afford. It is not the grandparent, even if you're paying them, it is still not the grandparent's responsibility to raise your kids. Mike and I had 2 kids, then we had 4 kids. Mom was nearby, but we did not have babysitting on call whenever we wanted. I see neighbor kids.
Yeah, I did babysit.
I know,
but
I was getting there. I see neighbors who their kids, the grandparents are over there all the time. And I mean several times a week. So mom and dad can go out and do whatever they want to do.
Well, especially if they're just going to work every day and making the
And we had mom, you know, she would help us if we had to take the kids to the doctor or something like that. Occasionally, like twice a year, Valentine's Day and our anniversary, we would get to go out on a date. But Mike and I did not go out on dates or anything like that for like 15 years until our oldest one was able to start babysitting on a regular basis, because we needed mom for the emergency type stuff to go to the doctor and that kind of thing. And you may not be able to go do all the fun stuff you want to do. There are a lot of parents and they're like, well, I like going to the restaurants and I like going out to the movies, and you may not be able to do that. And so you may just have to be
Well,
kind.
one thing, it'll make you a little bit stronger too. You're more responsible if you separate if you're so close, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't be close to your family, but if you're so dependent, sometimes you grow stronger when you're not as dependent on, a really tight. And another thing is, you can make another support system. You can grow another support system. You can, when you get to where you're at, check out places. If you're, you can go to churches,
get your neighbors.
like we have a quill guild if you're into that. We have a knitting guild. If anything you're interested in, even like some of the older grandkids, they love Pokemon, and they do the Pokemon game stuff where you go out and about and they meet people through that. There's whatever's you're interested. Check those things out before you move to that city and say, what do they have as a social thing for that type of thing? And then you'll have an idea. So it's not like you just step in the car and pack everything and you just drive off into the sunset. You do a little bit of...
Oh, we have done.
Well, we have, yes. But most people would.
But here's the thing. It's not like it has to be permanent.
No, and if it doesn't work out, you can move back again or something like that.
That's what Mike and I did. We moved to Texas, it didn't work. So then we moved to Idaho and that did work. But then we had kids and it didn't work. So then we moved back to Kansas to help my brother, and we eventually ended up back in Colorado where we started in the first place. It's okay.
It's like we
There's
say,
nothing
you're
wrong
not
with
a tree. You can pick up and move if you need to,
You don't
back
like where
and
you
forth.
are,
Yeah.
move. You're not a tree, exactly.
Yeah.
Because Mike and I have actually been criticized by people because we've moved so much, but we have been moving up, improving our situation with each move.
Yeah.
And we have made do when we couldn't make ends meet. Well, then we moved to some place where we could afford. We have paid one house in particular. We paid less rent because we painted the whole outside of the house for them.
Mm-hmm.
I have repainted the inside of a house for a landlord one time when I couldn't afford it. There are things you can do, but you need to do what you have to do to survive. And if you are in hock up to your eyeballs and you're both working and you could sell your house and be debt free somewhere else, I would do it in a heartbeat. Save up for 5 or 6 years and then move back if you want. But it's not the end of the world.
That's a good point. Is you do this to improve yourself a little bit, and if you have to, that's what it takes to do that. Then don't worry about.
Don't just say you
afraid.
can't do it, because you can.
You can't succeed if you don't try.
Yeah.
If you don't try it, you may fail, but you won't. If you don't try at all, you don't know. You might succeed.
Yeah.
So you need to at least try it, and it is scary. I will say it is scary, but if you do the research ahead of time, especially if you're single, I think maybe I don't know if she was single or not.
Who?
The
Oh,
gal that asked the question. But, do your research very thoroughly, and that type
And it is easier to move if you're single or without kids. But Mike and I have done it many times with kids, and we've done it without having a support system.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like, I think, I'll be perfectly frank, I think the support system thing is used as an excuse for people to not improve their situation and not make things better. We came back to Colorado, and even though we had family here, it was not a support system by any stretch of the imagination. And sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
You can't let the fear rule your life.
Exactly. You cannot live in a spirit of fear, and you got to just do it afraid.
And so that's the main thing. It's the fear is what's causing it.
And give yourself 6 months. If after 6 months you just are feeling like this is just not working out, you can move back. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. I mean, people think that this is an all or nothing thing, but there's nothing wrong with that. So,
it doesn't-
all right. So before you move, make sure you move our Dining on a Dime cookbook where you can eat better, spend less. We have moved lots of these. Dining
And
on
we
Dime
have a
cookbook.
moving, don't we have a moving
Yes,
thing?
we do have an ebook on moving. I will put the link in the description below. Check it out at livingonadime.com, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.